Welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Riga Springs Parks and Recreation Commission. Today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. It is 6:07. We'll do a roll call. We'll start down with
Sam Dudley,
Beth Giltner,
Ruth Mitchell,
Aaron Borey,
Mark Ingram,
Ruth Gubenhaker,
Rod Gray, Ken Trimble.
and we have a quorum. All right. So we have the agenda, which is very short. So anybody have anything to add? Or
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
we have a motion by Beth, a second by Ruth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Then we have the minutes. Sam didn't give us a copy, but everybody should have seen them on the Dropbox. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on the minutes?
Move approval of the minutes, please.
Second.
We have a motion from Rod to approve the minutes and a second by Aaron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, now it's public comments time. So we have some public?
I don't know, what is that noise?
Thank you. My name is Zahara Luminari, 79 and a half Spring. Unrelated to the agenda, but thank you for this opportunity. I have a proposition I feel would be extremely valuable for this city, and if it has been proposed before, here's an emphasis and backup. Now, I know you just redid Basin, and it looks wonderful, but I was wondering why there's no more natural, pure water offered in downtown Basin Park to celebrate our great waters and what the town literally represents. I am suggesting drilling perhaps into the Ruby-Doo Aquifer and having it be a public offering. Everyone in town and everyone visiting town wants to drink nature's sweet, nutritious, famous waters as they once did. Tourists expect to drink spring water, clean water at the springs, and they leave sometimes highly disappointed. In Hot Springs, you go and drink the spring water downtown, and it is the highlight of your entire trip. Colorado Springs, you go and taste all the different flavors of the springs. Why else would you go? My opinion. We are some of the most health-conscious people, and we hate that there is fluoride in our water and other chemicals. It seems like a crime, honestly, and it tastes gross, isn't good for our kids or our bodies. I've personally been 99% fluoride and tap sober for 16 years. And, the name Eureka Springs has lost a lot of its meaning with that kind of fluoridated chemical water offered at our springs, to my knowledge. The toxic grid, I feel, has caused us to lose our way. And cities always had a community well with clean water for the people, and that our spring city cannot even offer that disheartens me a little bit. How many gallons flow out of the Ruby-Doo right next to us? My suggestion is to rebirth that aspect of our town, make it water functional again, and we want our clean water back. I talk to everyone in town, we all do, and to have a source like that I think would be beautiful. Maybe in the park with a plaque saying we have this incredible Ruby-Doo water as a Native American treasure. We have our great springs, until we have our great springs clean once again, perhaps. And even maybe a Native American honoring with it. But that's just my suggestion, and myself and others care much about the water in our springs and would love someday to have that water to drink from again in some way or another, and that just came to me, so I just wanted to suggest it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, any other public comments? All right, move on. Okay, chairperson comments. Thank you, everybody, for showing up for our grand opening of the park. It was quite an ordeal. I was very pleased. Everybody was there. Thank you, Sam, for introducing the commissioners. I mentioned earlier, before we were on here, that we did an interview today with Good Morning Arkansas, so that'll be on May 30th. They'll be back in town, and I think they were going to Spring on Main, then they were going to other places, so they're interviewing several people, so tune in to that for May 30th. And that's really all I have. Next thing is Director's Report, Sam Dudley. Do you have anything to report?
No, nothing. Well, I guess, first of all, I should go ahead, just before I do the report, and introduce, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Matthew, but Nagy. He's the reporter, journalist for the Independent, so he's not just here to stare at us and not give a public comment. Yeah. Oh, and I did tell Matthew I'd mentioned we need to cancel our workshops a little sooner because he has a 7-month-old girl,
yeah,
and he,
we will.
yes, sorry. All right, so Director's Report. This month marked the finalization of the Basin Park Restoration Project, capped by a grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony last Thursday. Thank you to CAPC for organizing the event, Roxanne Dicker, Jeff Danos, and Mayor Barry for speaking, and of course to all of you for attending. We're ecstatic with the way the park turned out and hope you guys agree. Now that Basin is finished, this is the perfect time, well, this phase of Basin is finished. This is the perfect time to recap all that was accomplished in the past 2 years and thank those individuals and organizations that donated towards the cause of restoring and preserving our beautiful park. So I just wanted to get a list of the things we've done in the last 2 years. You will see how this ties into the financial review that we're going to do soon. So new hand railing along the upper tier, new stairways at the southern entrance of the park, new steps up to the band shell. We painted all the light posts, the band shell itself, the hand railings. We refurbished the fire bell. We placed the crystal that's underneath the band shell and put a plaque on for that. There's a new trail kiosk. We refurbished all the benches. A new backdrop painted in the, or kind of already mentioned that, painted in the band shell. Restored and repainted the gazebo. The planting of 6 new beautiful trees. Fixes to the northern stone wall. Tuck pointed and did all that good stuff. New stairs to the upper bluff with a handrail as well. A new Humpty Dumpty statue. He's excellent, by the way. Sorry. We refurbished the whole plaza, meaning we resurfaced with stamped concrete. We restored the fountain, obviously. Relocation of the Doughboy and the flagpole. New hydration stations and new stairs at the main entrance. So thank you once again to Eureka Springs Preservation Society, Main Street Eureka Springs, CAPC, Eureka Springs Arts Council, the Daughters of the American Revolution, Abendscone Chapter, Bruce Wright, the Banks Family Foundation, all of the contractors that help make these things happen, and of course to the ESPR Commission and staff for seeing these projects through. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I am tired. In other news, we have exciting things happening at Lake Leatherwood. We have all new maps and signs ready to be installed throughout the park and have wrapped up the design of a new trifold brochure and a new sign for the entryway of the park. So we'll, instead of, you guys have been into the visitor center, but we have like lots of individual papers. And we're just like, let's condense these all into a beautiful trifold. So we had a local design artist, designer, make us a new trifold that we can pass out to guests. We have new LLCP t-shirts. I don't know if you all saw those at the Basin Park event, but they're lovely and have our new logo on them. The Lake Leatherwood workshop is going to be installed this Thursday. That's exciting.
Very exciting.
How long have you guys been talking about a workshop, Ruth?
At least 12 years.
Okay, cool. We wrapped up the first season of baseball, which went as smoothly as we could have hoped for. Obviously, there's a few little hiccups, but, you know, first year, growing pains. We completed another fundamental part of the watershed grant by hosting our spring native plant walk invasive species removal workshop. I'd like to also, I'll mention this later, but gladly announce that we're pretty much all done with paying the $55,000 that we owed to Olson as part of the grant. So And we hosted the first ever Lake Leatherwood Gravity Challenge event put on by our mountain bike shuttle contractor, the Gravity Feed, and the next one is planned for June 8th. Elsewhere around town, we installed a new piece of art at Sweet Spring titled Hoppy, who is a 3-foot-tall lifelike frog
I thought it was pretty cool.
designed by Stephen Feilbach and paid for by the Eureka Springs Arts Council, so big thank you to them. We also have received and begun planting our big spring plant order, so expect to see some extra color in the springs. And lastly, we hosted yet another spring tree giveaway a couple weeks ago. Once again, big thank you to the Walton Family Foundation, Forest Keeling Nursery, and Eureka Springs Community Center for helping us make that happen.
And your commission chair for unloading.
Oh my gosh, I know, yeah.
I'm old and I had to unload those plans.
I was getting you prepped up for the house move. Yeah. So,
For it.
thank you, Mark. I would have invited all of you to help, but there's like FOIA laws and stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, so Mark could do it by himself.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that is one of the things. It's a real thing.
They were much larger plants this year.
They were pretty big.
Some of them were big. Those witch hazel plants were big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it.
Okay, cool. The committee reports, I actually asked Sam to put this together just so I think we talked about before where we need to start watching our budget to our actuals and do it more frequently throughout the year. And we've just had so much expenditure with the park. And it's been crazy, and I've told Sam that for the rest of the year, tighten the belt, nobody's getting extra anything, like we got to be really careful from now on. But, one of the things that it occurred to me that maybe a lot of the public doesn't realize is how we're funded, mostly with a 1/4% tax, city sales tax, for the general fund, and then a 1/8 cent tax for Leatherwood, and that adds up to not a lot. So we heavily rely on different organizations to donate and to help us. So CAPC Preservation has been amazing year after year, helping us do different things. Main Street, all of them. But if the city wants, the people want more, we can't just manufacture money. So it's got to come from somewhere. So donate. Come out, buy t-shirts, anything you can do that helps add money, adds flowers to each of the springs, and every little penny. And we watch pennies. We're very careful, but that's the limited amount of budget that we have. And we have 8 employees. I think it's total 8 now.
8 full-time.
8 full-time employees.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that little bit in there that so be understanding when you're driving around town saying, oh, that doesn't have enough flowers. Well, we've got as many as we can afford. Right? So anyway, Sam, do you want to kind of go through this first page?
Yeah, I would just like to first of all say thank you to Mark for making sure we do this budget to actual right after we spend a whole lot of money. So it's kind of a massacre if you look at the bottom number. Beth is going to take a break. Obviously, I wrote down a list of reasons why this year, at this particular moment, year to date, we are so far in the red. The reasons are pretty obvious, but I would also like to point out on public record that since taking over on March 1st, 2023, we're actually only down $120,000 overall, and that's not counting a lot of things that are coming our way in the near future. We get March sales tax allocation will be coming next week. That's hopefully will be big. Hopefully somewhere in the $60,000 range. The Olson project, like I said, we pretty much paid all the $55,000 this year. We waited as long as we could so we could keep collecting as much interest from the money market account. The major maintenance and repair items are all finished, I mean, for the most part. So that's another big one. We don't really have any huge projects coming up for the rest of the year, so it should be more a time to recoup, and we'll be busier, and sales tax income will start going up more. Low sales tax for 2025 thus far. And then we do have a little bit of money still, promised from other city organizations for things like Jamboree and stuff that will, help out with, balancing the budget by the end of the year. And then lodging has actually been pretty good this year, lodging income, but we're a little bit down on sales, and that's just because January and February we don't rent boats. Really March we don't rent boats
Well,
either.
that's kind of important. This is going through April.
It's going like to date, yeah. So from January 1st to May to today.
And we have at least 2 months of dead time.
Yeah. So I know it's a little bit gruesome, but
It's pretty.
and then you look at when the Banks Family Foundation grant came in was in end of 2024, so it doesn't get counted on this. But,
Right.
So the numbers are a little bit skewed. But I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm hoping by the end of the year,
We'll be back.
we'll probably still be in the negative just because of the way things played out this year, but I'm hoping that March 1st, 2023 start date, which is sort of what I like to go back to make myself feel better,
Right.
we'll be back in the just the net zero. So, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions, or you wanted to spend some time? Even to talk about this at the workshop, we could sort of go over numbers at the workshop too.
Yeah.
I have a,
Yeah.
And sorry, I would have like, yeah, I know, I would have like,
yeah.
it's hard to do a deep dive on the spot.
Sort of last minute to you on this one too.
If it was a quarterly, I would give you guys a week or so to review before you had to approve it, but.
And yeah, this was just, I just wanted everybody to have a little bit of discussion and think about, and maybe in our next workshop, it would be a good idea to start talking about other fundraising ideas that are out there that we could really start thinking about.
Yes.
So there's lots of things that are on my mind about it. So we just need to maybe workshop it and everybody come up with some ideas of thoughts that make enough money that helps. I mean, there's been different talks about different little things, but $200 for 6 hours work is not work, right? But we need to really be thinking about how we make money that goes back into our parks. So it's just one of those things that wouldn't hurt to start really digging into having a big fundraiser, whether it's a bingo night with Rod calling it or something where people are coming and paying and buying shirts and doing whatever it takes. So just keep that in your head for our next workshop.
Or maybe we can find someone that wants to do a joint fundraiser. When you said bingo, I thought, why don't we do more joint things? It could be museum and parks, or parks and communities,
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know what we could
really
have more
could.
joint, we could pool our resources that way and do
Well,
joint fundraisers.
I mean, on that note, not to get in the weeds too much, but I did get a text from Dave Ranko mentioning that they were looking to raise funds for a chess table that maybe they could install in Basin Park, like a permanent chess table.
Well, that's
that
kind of a
the
cool
kids would
idea.
build, and so it'd be like a good partnership with the high school team.
It's perfect.
And I mean, stuff like that's pretty cool. It doesn't necessarily raise money because all the money we raise goes towards the chess table, but it's a cool
It improves
addition.
the park.
Yeah, it's a
It
cool
improves
addition to the park, and
Cool. Okay, that's just a thought I had. Does everybody okay with the idea of just talking about this budget
Yeah.
at a workshop where we're, because I guess at the end of June, we will be ready for our second quarter financials. And so it'd be good.
yeah, we'll do that one in July. The
Yeah,
July
so
meeting.
we'll have our June workshop to sort of look at this and talk about it, and then when we're ready for the financials in July, we will all understand how everything played out.
And I just want to add, thank you for adding the commentary on the note section, because it makes it a little easier to understand.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The details of what, why, where, when, how.
I did it for myself too.
Well, but it's just helpful for us to, in reviewing this, to go back and say, oh, that makes sense, or that doesn't, so it's
Yeah.
appreciated.
All right.
Question. How are we going to shuttle?
The bike shuttles?
Smooth?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been
Okay.
easy. And, Nick's been very passionate. He's putting on these events. He got funding from CPC to advertise them, and he's kind of, hands off me. He's not making me do much, but he's getting a lot done, so.
And if you follow their page, I would say 10 times more posting, more things happening, the rake and bike and rake.
Rake and rides, yeah.
And they're just doing all kinds of, he really has stepped up.
Yeah, pretty cool. One thing, Mark, that I should have added to the agenda, I don't know if we need to go back, we probably do. I don't know if we can at this point. The workshop at Lake Leatherwood. I was talking with Nikki about it, and I think it made sense in our brains for us to reallocate that to the general fund as opposed to the Leatherwood fund, because it's something. It doesn't specifically benefit. It benefits Lake Leatherwood, but it benefits all the parks if employees have the proper workshop to work out of. So it felt a little bit like, it wasn't specific to Leatherwood, even though it's being placed at Leatherwood.
I don't see any reason why that needs to be, it was budgeted in the budget for that one, under a Leatherwood budget.
Yeah, under 756.
Okay.
And so my request would be to change it over to 706 to
Okay,
the general.
I would make a note to put that on the next agenda. And
Okay.
It's not going to hurt anything for today, but.
Okay.
Because I think we would have to have a motion to change that from one funded
Then to
line
another.
item to another
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
budget. But we'll talk about that and discuss that whenever it's time, but I don't see a problem. All right, no old business, no new business. Just for everybody's sake, we've had a lot of business lately, so everybody's ready for just a minute of no business, especially Sam. He had fever one night, and I drove by this Basin Park, and I knew he was sick, and he was out there hand watering the trees. I'm like, it's been a rough 2 or 3 months.
March was dry. It never rained in March. I had to go out there and water.
Thank you, Sam. We couldn't be more proud and grateful for all that you've done there. All right, so the next item is commissioner comments. Beth, do you have anything?
I guess the only thing I'd like to say, I missed the last meeting, wasn't able to attend, but the workshop in the previous month, we all met out at Lake Leatherwood and went through all the cabins and the lodging. And I just encourage anyone who hasn't been out and taken a look at those cabins to do so. A bunch of my friends and I are talking about just renting a bunch for the weekend and going out and staycation here because they are beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful.
I agree. Ruth?
Well, recently I was out there on the lake renting a boat with my grandchildren, and I went in and hugged Juanita and said what a great job she was doing. And she said, "Oh, that means so much to me." And I just encourage anyone to go out there and hug her neck and tell her what a good job she's doing.
Thank you. That's a good idea. I do need to go out there anyway and see the new t-shirts.
Need to buy me one.
Thank you. Our budget is low. Aaron, you have anything?
No, nothing at this time.
Ms. Ruth?
Nothing. Basin Park was great. Yes, I was glad to see a lot of locals there, a lot of faces, a lot of people that over the years have been involved in things that have to do with Basin Park and parks and city things. And it was just the representation of our town at that event the other night was fantastic. And thank you, Sam, and your crew, and everybody else you already thanked. I'm so glad that's done for now.
I have a question for you as a commissioner. You've been on this commission for how many years?
I looked it up before, but I forget. It's a long time ago.
And how many years have it been talked about doing Basin Park?
Since day one.
I know that when I started almost 4 years ago, I think it was.
Because before I was a commissioner, I was also, a couple times I was on the chamber board, and we had an outdoor tourism committee, and I was on a economic development committees, all those things that before I was a parks commissioner, we talked about doing Basin Park then too.
Yeah, so I know it's been, just in my short time, it's been talked about every single
Yeah.
year. And
Lots of people have.
next year, we don't have to talk about it. Anyway, Rod?
I'm just proud to be on this commission. We are doing such great work. So thank you to Eureka Springs, the community, and for us as well. We're doing the work as well. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Rod. Ken?
Yeah, I second that. It's like we were talking about earlier, without the taxes, without the support of the town and tourists as well. I mean, it's, everybody has a part to play in it, and it's great to have a gym like the Basin Park now to look at and say, wow, this is what can be done, and go from there and go to other projects. Maybe not quite so big, but yeah, it was just a really great project to watch develop and then to see it now and to see the response of the public too. People I think are real excited and thrilled about it, and that's great to see. It's great to see community spirit come up with a project like that. So thanks a lot for all you do. For everybody's put forth. Fantastic.
Ken, in 2026, we plan to paint the Sweet Spring fence.
That's nice. That's
No, I'm joking. We'll do more of that, but
We'll do volunteers for that.
yeah.
Do it for free.
But it'll take you all year to figure out what color to paint.
Yeah, we got to figure out the colors.
Yeah,
It's
that's
going to take
right.
me all year to do it.
All right, so with that being done, that's all. Does anybody want to move to adjourn?
So moved. Second. There's fast with it.
We have a motion by Ruth and a second by Beth and Ruth. So, all those in favor? Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned. I've been moving for 3 weeks.